Hi guys, it's One Love Ted, and it is time for Ted's afternoon story. Uh, this is the Pushcart War by Gene Merrill. We're on chapter 11 today, and excuse me if you hear some birds flying around. My parrot and my cockatiel are flying around down here. This is chapter 11, The Secret Weapon. Carlos was known to the pushcart peddlers as the most skillful carton flattener in the Lower East Side section of New York City. Carlos' business was to go around to small stores that had clean cardboard cartons which they wished to be rid of. With 2 or 3 deft motions, Carlos would flatten the cartons and carefully stack them on his pushcart. Carlos was the only flattener in the business who could stack to a height of 12 feet without the carton slipping off. When he had a load, Carlos would deliver the cartons to another small business that needed a few cartons. This was a very practical business, as Carlos did not have to pay out any money for the goods he sold. The storekeepers were glad to get rid of the cartons. Carlos' only expense was for his pushcart. One reason Carlos never said much was that he spoke only in Spanish, except to give the price of a load of cartons. That he could do in English. He could also follow the main idea of conversation in English, but to reply to a complicated matter he preferred to speak in Spanish. Carlos' idea at the meeting at Maxie Hammerman's was too complicated for him to explain in English. Maxie Hammerman had to explain it for him. Maxie Hammerman spoke Spanish and 12 other languages. He had to, being the pushcart king. Carlos wishes to say, Maxie Hammerman began, that the problem is to make people see who is blocking the streets. Certainly, said Harry the hot dog, but how? Carlos has described to me a very clever pea shooter that his youngest boy has made, said Maxie Hammerman. Carlos says that the pea shooter shoots not just ordinary peas, but peas with a pin stuck in them. Children, said Papa Peretz, you have to watch them every minute. For example, my grandson... Wait, Papa Peretz, said Maxie Hammerman. We are coming to the point. The point is that Carlos has told his boy that he must never use such a pea shooter to shoot at people, as it would not be so nice to put a pin in someone's arm. That's what I mean, said Papa Peretz. Wait, said Maxie Hammerman. Carlos' little boy replies, then what good is the shooter? Carlos does not know how to answer, and he feels bad because the shooter is very cleverly made, and it is a shame if the boy cannot use it at all. Then suddenly, said Maxie Hammerman, when Papa Peretz says at this meeting that we need a secret weapon, Carlos is happy. He sees what the shooter is good for. To put pins in the truck drivers, said Harry the hot dog. Carlos shook his head. No, Maxie Hammerman explained, it is Carlos' belief that even truck drivers are people. He has told his little boy that he must never shoot at people. He does not wish to set a bad example. Then what good is the pea shooter? Asked Frank the Flower. Carlos spoke very excitedly to Maxie Hammerman in Spanish. Aha, said Maxie Hammerman. Carlos says we will not, of course, shoot at the truck drivers. We will shoot at is the truck tires. He says we will kill the truck tires. Bang, said Carlos, pointing out an imaginary truck tire. Bang, bang. It was a word he had learned from his boy. Then goma vacía, Carlos said. Goma vacía, Maxie Hammerman explained, meant in Spanish, flat tire. See, Carlos nodded, blowing his breath out and sinking to the floor as if he were a truck tire going flat. Morris the florist took off his hat. Such an idea, he said. For such an idea, Carlos could be president of the USA. President, said Papa Perez. How can the president speak Spanish? Never mind the president, said Harry the hot dog. It's a good idea. Good, said General Anna. It is beautiful. I see the picture. The question is, who is blocking the traffic? All right, we kill the truck tires, and suddenly everywhere in the streets, big dead trucks. They can't move. They are blocking everything. People look around. In every block, they see 6, 7, 8 dead trucks. People will see who is blocking the traffic. Of course, said Mr. Jerusalem. It is not such a nice thing to do. Not nice, said Morris the florist. Compared to smashing a man's cart so badly that it can never be fixed, it is a very nice thing to do. No matter how nice, said Eddie Maroney, we should not let the truck drivers see us doing it. There could be a difference of opinion. Naturally, said Papa Peretz, it should be a surprise attack. We will keep the pea shooters in our pockets. We wait until the truck driver looks the other way, then quick, poof, then we look the other way. Just so, said General Anna, so it should look like an accidental flat tire. And all of a sudden there will be so many accidents, said Harry the hot dog. Yes, said Maxie Hammerman, figuring on a piece of paper. If there are 509 pushcarts, and every man who has a pushcart, and every lady, said General Anna, and every lady, agreed Maxie Hammerman, if every pushcart peddler kills only 6 tires a day, that will be quite a few accidents. I am all for accidents, said Frank the Flower, but where can we get 509 pea shooters? We will make them in my shop, said Maxie Hammerman. Carlos boy will show us how. Can we also make peas? Asked Papa Peretz. Peas we can grow, said Eddie Maroney. I have a window box and I already have grown onions and beans good enough to eat. Good for you, Eddie Maroney, said General Anna, but I am not going to wait for peas to grow in your window box, much less to dry out. We must attack at once. We can buy the peas, said Harry the hot dog. Yes, said Maxie Hammerman. I will order 1 ton of peas in the morning. And a ton of pins, said General Anna. A ton, said Mr. Jerusalem. But how much will so many pins cost? Even scrap metal by the ton, it adds up. I should know. Scrap metal is my line. And 1 ton of new high-quality pins. Who can afford? Not to mention 1 ton of peas, also an expense. Pin money we will need, Maxie Hammerman agreed, and I will get it. From where? Asked Papa Peretz. I know a lady, said Maxie Hammerman. She can afford to buy a few pins. A few, said Mr. Jerusalem. 1 ton is a few. Who is the lady? Asked General Anna. By the name of Wenda Gambling, said Maxie Hammerman. From the movies? Said Harry the hot dog. You would ask her? Why not? Said Maxie Hammerman. In my line, I have to know a lot of people. Should I be the pushcart king for nothing? And you are sure this lady will give you the money for the pins? Said Mr. Jerusalem. I am confident, said Maxie Hammerman, tossing his hammer in the air. I myself, he said, catching the hammer, heard her say that there were too many trucks. Maxie Hammerman was right about Wenda Gambling. She meant it about the trucks, and she was very glad to buy a ton of pins and a ton of peas as well. Not only that, but she gave Maxie Hammerman 500 autographed pictures of herself for the pushcart peddlers to paste on their carts if they wanted to. Most of them did. Even General Anna, who did not think much of the movies, she took one. Never mind the movies, said General Anna. The pins I appreciate. And that's Ted's afternoon story. Tomorrow is chapter 12, The Pea Shooter Campaign, Phase 1. Thanks for tuning in. Please join the YouTube channel. One Love, Ted Koch. Thanks. Bye.